So picking up where I left off, I do this shit on TikTok so that I can see the time because YouTube don't let you do too damn much in the way of like timing and shit. So picking up where I left off on the last one, the story of like Lucifer, and I grew up like super fucking Christian, and it was like a fucking cult the way that things fucking worked. I absolutely hated it. But anyways, so a lot of the times those Bible stories are really used to control people. And that's what I fucking hated about that fucking shit. So with Lucifer's story basically being about an angel who, wanted more for himself than what he was given, then he was like had to go through all this shit and got in some trouble. Now, some people do acknowledge that story where, it's just like, oh, well, yeah, he wanted too much, or what was the fucking thing about it? Or, like, wanted too much control, or was just, got a big head and thought that he was, like, better than everybody else, supposedly, and, continued on and got punished for it. The way that I've always seen the story was ever since I was a kid was not necessarily that he wanted too much, but that's what they use to teach us not to want anything for ourselves. And so it took me a long time to actually learn what I did and didn't want, and it was a lot of hard fucking lessons because I was taught that I should never want anything. And so whenever people would ask me what I wanted for like birthdays and stuff like that, and on top of like that and growing up poor, I was just like, I would never know. Because it's just like, I don't want to ask for too much. But it put me in this state where I would always feel guilty because I wanted more than what I had. And it's just like, I really, because if you can't afford fucking food and you want to be able to just afford to buy food whenever, however, whatever the fuck you want, then, you can feel guilty for that shit when you grow up like that. And from what I, learned about these stories when I was younger, or at least put together myself, it wasn't even anything that was taught to me, but I put it together myself that something wasn't quite right about the story. And over the years, I was not satisfied with what I had, and it made me feel really, really shitty. I felt like I couldn't enjoy my life because I always wanted more. More than what I had, but not so much to the point where I would cease to be generous. And this is going into the 7 deadly sins. I'm going to have to do a whole separate thing on the 7 deadly sins because now this is going into all of them. Anyways, so yeah. Basically, whatever empire he did have, it was seen that he had fallen because I got the tower here. It was seen that like he had fallen from grace because he wanted too much. But the thing is like, it's not always about wanting too much. It's about a balance. And to want more is not to want too much. Something in you is calling for more, but it's important to get to the root of what that more is. You want that more to be heart-centered and not you, how they say like your eyes are too big for your stomach. You don't want your eyes to be too big for your stomach and not fulfill your heart. So you can like all of these shiny things that you see here in the physical world and all of that stuff. You can like all the bells and whistles and stuff, but make sure that whatever bells and whistles you're getting also fulfills your heart, because it's not going to be satisfying on the inside, because you're going to get it on the outside and then it's just like, well, that's not enough. I'm going to need some more. So you get that freaking money that you've always wanted. Like, what are you going to do with it that's going to make you feel fulfilled on the inside? What can you do now that makes you feel fulfilled on the inside? And after the tower, we have like the Queen of Wands, and it says you need sun. I started writing messages on that. You might need to get outside. You might have been getting told frequently that you need to get outside, and yeah. That and like, but it's more than just you needing to get outside. It feels like with the tower, it feels like things have been a bit shaky lately, and maybe you've been feeling a little unstable, and so now the sun is coming out. You need sun, and that maybe that doesn't necessarily in this case mean that you need to go outside. It's that you've been in a really dark place, a not so good place, a place where it feels like tower after tower, hit after hit, like you just can't fucking win, like you've been locked away in some deep dark abyss. And now it's time for you to finally see the light, which again is going back to the freaking fallen angel story where they were like supposedly locked away never to see the sun again, to never be satisfied. And that didn't sit right with me because it's just like I imagine myself like when I see like Source, I imagine Source as like a parent. And me personally, as a parent, especially an all-knowing parent, if I like created everything, like created this whole entire fucking world, and I'm the parent, and I created these beings to be this way, like I would think that I would never put any of them in a position where they couldn't be redeemed. Because that's my babies, you know? I made them. Even if they like disappoint me, even if they break my heart, like this is eternal. Like there is a path of redemption. I like the way I see it is like when I put myself in that fucking position, like if I was to live forever and I was to have my kids go after me and like be whatever it is that they wanted to be, they could choose whatever path they wanted. But this lasted forever. Their souls lasted forever. I would give them a path of fucking redemption, not condemn them forever to nothingness and to never feel anything other than disappointment from me. I don't know why I went on that fucking tangent, but maybe it's significant to somebody. Maybe we'll get into the whole like Lucifer storyline and like my experiences another time. But what I'm getting from that, like, I don't know, it just, the original story, like, the way that it's told to me just feels absolutely kind of ridiculous, because in my experiences, I've never had, like, the same experiences that they described in the freaking Bible when it comes to Lucifer and, like, hearing about the story and the things that I put together from the story. But we'll get into that another fucking day, because that'll be something completely different than this fucking reading. Anyways, so after the fallen angel, you have like the treasures in the shadows. And so what I'm getting is that once you rise above the fray, you'll feel more motivated to move forward, to keep going, to like you'll feel more empowered to actually take the steps that you need to reach your dreams. Like you perchance to dream. Like this is a card about like you having to take the steps towards your dreams. But in order to do that, you have to see yourself as more than just this 3D physical being. Like it may be uncomfortable to be in the vessel that you're in. And you want to see yourself as more than just the vessel that you're in, but also that you are the vessel that you're in. Like a simulation game, a high stakes simulation game. And once you like separate yourself from only being this, once you realize that you're more than just this, then you can take those steps and you'll find treasures going into the unknown. And when you step into the unknown, that's where you find your path, your dreams. Which actually reminds me of a freaking thing that I saw earlier, but I guess we're getting into that in a part 3. So I can get my thoughts together.